Hello everyone. I've got a big action-packed video for you today. I want to talk about Chinese RPGs, a completely new territory and experience for me. And no, I am not talking about Genshin Impact, the all-conquering Chinese action RPG free-to-play online. I haven't played Genshin Impact, and from what I've seen from video trailers, etc., Genshin Impact looks to me like it uses a general anime style of visual presentation, which will be well known to most people who watch anime and play anime-style games. So a very smart move on their part to fit in with the already existing aesthetic that people are comfortable with. But I came across these other Chinese RPGs and they look very different to me. They look really Chinese. I don't know if there's such a thing, but they look like you're being transported authentically into Chinese history and mythology. So if you are already well versed, especially in Chinese mythology, I think you would find this very interesting. I'm a complete newcomer to the subject. I will tell you a bit more about my experience with it. It was, frankly, overwhelming. I was suddenly immersed in a world I knew very little about, and I had to do a lot of catching up and a fair amount of reading. But let's start at the beginning. I've got an unboxing to do, so that should be fun. The American company Serenity Forge very kindly shipped this special collector's edition all the way to me here in New Zealand. And I'm really excited to dive into the box because I've been playing the game for a while already. And the first thing I can and should say about it is it's beautiful. So I am hoping the collector's edition will do justice to the beauty portrayed in the game. So how come I've already been playing the game, even though I haven't opened the box? Well, you know me, anything RPG I'm always interested in. And when I spotted the Chinese RPG Sword and Fairy being released with English subtitles in Asia, I went ahead last year and ordered Sword and Fairy 7 and also Sword and Fairy 6. Yes, 6 is obviously the one that came before 7, so this was originally published back in 2018. I think it came west 2019, and this game was only released a year ago in the West, and is obviously the newest game in the main numbered series that is Sword and Fairy. Now, Sword and Fairy goes back almost 30 years. It has a really venerable history in the Chinese-speaking parts of Asia. The company that makes the games is called Soft Star, and they are headquartered in Taiwan. And I believe Sword and Fairy is one of the most popular RPGs in the Chinese-speaking world. So I have played just over 10 hours, I would say, of Sword and Fairy 7. I'm in chapter 10 at the moment, so I think I've got a fairly good handle on how the game works, and I will be interspersing little clips of gameplay as I talk about the games. The copy of Sword and Fairy 7 from Asia, by the way, came accompanied by this little box. And I thought that was a really nice touch. What is it? Well, it looks to me like the hair ornament that is worn by our female protagonist in Sword and Fairy 7. Quite lovely, very delicate, and you can already see the emphasis on beauty of presentation. Both Sword and Fairy games, by the way, are also available digitally on our Western PlayStation network and also on Xbox. So what is this third game? It's obviously not Sword and Fairy. It's again a Region 3 Asian release, also by Soft Star, and a game also in a long-running series. I believe it is regarded as a sort of sister series to Sword and Fairy. And it's called Xuan Yuan Sword. I obviously apologise for my non-existent Chinese pronunciation. I tried looking up certain words to get a bit of a handle on it, but I'm really not sure at all. I do my best as far as I can, both with, Japanese names, and obviously I'd like to extend the same courtesy to Chinese words, but I'm struggling a bit, not having studied it ever before. So I will be able to show you some game clips as well of Xuan Yuan Sword. And this game is also numbered 7 in its series. It is different from Sword and Fairy, but there are enough similarities that you can see the close connection between them.
好，
红儿，怎么了？
你看，
啊，你的机关鸢
又卡住了，可我够不着。
Do I like the games? Yes, I like both Sword and Fairy as well as Xuan Yuan Sword, but I have to add there are some provisos, especially for Western players, and I'll go into that. But let's have a look in this box now. And it's time, as usual, for the trusty German cheese knife. As you would expect with a game like this, emphasis is very much on presentation, and the box art straight away conveys a sense of beautiful illustration, I think. Here's the back cover illustration. And there we are, one collector's box. So here we have the plushie. Obviously that was the first thing I went for when I started unpacking. So this is the leaf fairy in the game. This creature provides a variety of services. I think the major function is that it offers mini-games. And there are quite a lot, apparently. I've only unlocked 2 so far. One is a really interesting card game. It's quite simple and fairly addictive, but I haven't worked out the rules at all. But it's still fun just playing it and seeing the outcome. So this is the Leaf Fairy, a nice soft plushie. Now, this is probably going to sound ungrateful, and no disrespect to the Leaf Fairy, but I would have so much more liked to see another creature given the plushie treatment. And that is the bird, Qiao Ling, who accompanies our female protagonist, Yu, on her adventures. This bird, I think you will agree when I show you a clip.
巧玲，没受伤吧？
is incredible. incredibly cute. It looks such a little darling. But the amazing thing is it can transform into a stunning, large bird creature. I'm not quite sure what it represents. Some people say it's an owl-like creature. It doesn't look like it to me. It's a fantasy bird, I think, unless it's from Chinese mythology. I'm not sure, but it's absolutely glorious. I would have loved that little Qiao Ling bird as a plushie. I think it would have been adorable. It's okay, little leaf fairy. We'll give you a nice spot here and the others will welcome you. And here we have a desk mat. Now, I am very partial to desk mats. I use them a lot, and I like ones with beautiful illustration. So I'll put it down here on the table. As you can see, it's got the same illustration as on the boxes. And here we have two boxes. The first one contains the physical game and the steel case or steel book. And the other one, CD soundtrack and Journey Heaven Earth playing cards. Now, that is the little card game, the mini game I mentioned. I guess I should practice with these cards here. That might be a good idea. So here's the PS4 game, the Western edition. So here's the soundtrack, the download code, carried by Qiao Ling, my favourite bird. You see how cute it is? And a cardboard sheet with 4 pop-out characters, little cardboard stands, and when you pop them out, I imagine you can place them on there. So a bit in the chibi style, look very cute. So I assume when you order the standard edition, that's what you'll get inside the case. And this is the steel case, and let me just say, wow, it is beautiful. It is matte, and only the gold shines a little bit. So it's not super glossy or reflective or anything like that, no. Now our female protagonist, Yu Jingshu, she can harness a variety of elemental spirits whom she collects throughout the adventure, and that adds an extra depth to the gameplay. It's similar to summoning a familiar, really. Hajan, the ice spirit. And the inside of the steel case has some very sweet little illustrations of all the different spirits that appear in the game. But Qiao Ling is my favourite. The soundtrack, it's a double CD. The music in the game is really nice. I'll, as usual, get a couple of tracks off and use them in the background. I'll just get the cellophane off the card game pack. So it says it's a 2-player game, 10 to 15 minutes per round, I assume. It's also quite quick in the game itself. And there's a deck of 41 cards. Just a sample of the cards. And I better get practicing and explain it to Poodlepa so we can play it together. The nice thing is that it's not a game with a plethora of rules. I'm not someone who likes to study card game rules for weeks on end before I can actually play the game. This is just a simple, short kind of game that should suit us, hopefully. There are also some art cards in the box. And once again, I think you can see the beauty of the graphics. It's absolutely amazing. And the game looks very good, especially colour palettes and textures are beautifully done, like the clothes. My only slight criticism would be that the character models, the faces, have just a little bit of that porcelain doll appearance, if you know what I mean.
北方？去北方做什么呀？
But it's not off-putting. It suits the game. So this is our main lady, Yu Qingshu, and this is our main male protagonist, Zhu Wu, he's called, and he's not human. He is a deity. The game deals with a universe of humans, deities, and demons and monsters. And there is a whole lot of lore behind who they are, what they do, etc. Now, I just want to say, if you are partial to male beauty, this guy tops it all. He is incredibly good looking. Oh, goodness me. Absolutely out of this world. They've done the leaf fairy really well. It looks exactly like this in the game. Even the little feet here they got right. And the leaf ears, cute. Sometimes, you get plushies and you think, yes, but it doesn't quite look like in the game. That is not the case here. The colours and everything is accurate. So that was a bit of a different kind of collector's edition to what I would normally have, but I have to say it's all nicely presented. There is no art book. I do miss that a bit, I guess, especially with a game as beautiful as this. I mean, it would have come very, very expensive, would have been beyond the cost level of this edition. But I'm thinking a beautiful, larger-sized art book with, lots of illustrations, but also a lot of the information that is in the game. And sometimes I wish I could just sit down and sort of study a bit, like read the entries. I read a lot of what they have in their journal files. Goodness me, there is a heap of background information there. But there's a limit to what I like to read on a TV screen. It would be really awesome to have that in book form and have a lot of that information in print. It would be an expensive exercise, but honestly, if that was offered, I think I would consider getting it. As it is, I have to say, especially considering the criticism I have had in recent times of spiralling costs and reduced item sets in collectors and limited editions, I'm really pleasantly surprised what they managed to fit into the $100 cost of the edition. Sometimes publishers shove in some extra bits which are clearly of cheaper production just to pad things out, but I don't see that here. What is here is all of good quality. The steelbook will steal your heart. It's absolutely out of this world. There's really a good variety of items from a card game. That's the type of item that has become much more popular recently. We see it included in a fair number of limited and collector's editions. Plushie and the beautiful desk mat. I showed it to you earlier. You can't see much of it now that everything is sitting on top of it, together with a steelbook and a double disc soundtrack. I'm trying to see if I can nitpick on anything, but I can't really. So thank you again to Serenity Forge. I really enjoyed this unboxing. I hope you did as well. I will show you some more gameplay footage now, so if you're interested, please stick around. Enjoy some footage of my heartthrob. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye-bye.